Welcome everybody, USL Live Season 21 Playoff Edition. We're doing the playoffs and finals in 1 week. But we did want to start off with some mailbox questions because that seems to be hot right now. We keep getting messages about it. So, Yosh, did you have one you wanted to bring up right away?
Yeah, I've got a couple actually. So the first mailbox question from an anonymous viewer goes, give me a second to pull it up here. Does Negi join the squad before playoffs and shit another ring? This is the first mailbox question that I got.
Well, I'll answer that. No, just because everybody is capped at 14 members. So the only way he would be able to play is to NT. And you know what? With the inner drama and workings of FUP, that could be a logical thing, but I don't see him making an impact against us.
Okay. I see the same thing.
Rules aside, honestly, I think FUP could use maybe Fresh is never on. Doesn't seem like Iceman's drifted away. So they're using like Octavian and 3K, who's apparently a little crazy right now. So, rules aside, it would be cool to see, but yeah, I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah. Okay. So I got a couple other questions here. I'll do this one right now. What's the chances of Jokers getting clowns to become reality?
I would say about a 2% probability.
Yeah, I'm right about there. It goes up to 10% if you're just saying, there's going to be a squad name clones next season. I'm down to about not even a 0.1% of any of those people he's mentioned so far joining.
Okay. And the last question that I have is, I'm currently on a mid-tier squad. How do I break into the upper echelons of the game?
Ooh. That's actually a good one. As somebody who's climbed up from the gutter, I would say that your best bet is to continue to perform consistently, and one of either our squad, Mecha squad, Dave, as long as you're active. I mean, Dave doesn't really care so much about activity right now because he's into WoW, but once that dies down and he kind of gets reinterested in the game, all of us will look at you. The thing is, you have to be willing to be okay with sitting on Sundays, because right now all of us have a set lineup in our mind for Sunday matches. Now, that doesn't mean you won't get playtime. You can get subbed in at 15, or you can play against squads like Hellcats, no offense, but just be active, be consistent, and be willing to learn, take constructive criticism, and you'll improve and get into those upper echelon squads that you mentioned.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I would add too, don't be afraid to message, one of the people who runs the, higher tier squads, because like Eric said, we're always looking, after your starters, you always need people who can spot start, playing some lesser games, SB during the week, who are active. As long as you're active, you're going to be on the squad, and you can get on a top squad if you are active.
I mean, look at last season. We picked up Worth. We picked up Ron. I'm not saying they're mid-tier players. I'm just saying they're more known for CTF, and they were active during the week. Ron has gotten playtime in both seasons. Worth kind of disappeared after this last season. But we also picked up Wu-Tang, who would have definitely been able to play in some of these games, and he just disappeared right after we recruited him. I think he's like, I know I'm not going to play. I could just bench a ring, but we dropped him for somebody that was going to be active.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it comes back to activity. You're active, you'll be on the squad. You can get on a higher squad. It's not hard.
Yeah.
And I think a big part of it too is just don't be weird. I mean,
yeah, don't be a rager on Discord. That's number one, getting kicked.
Yeah, and it's always weird walking into a new situation with new people that you don't know, but you got to make an effort. We've had people that like Eric said, we invited them because we thought they had some potential, and we literally just never saw them again. Or they come on for SBs and if they don't get play time, they just leave.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So the chances of us ever playing with those people again are pretty much zero.
Right. First impressions too, right? If you recruit them and they don't show up or they're just never on, yeah, you're not going to recruit them again. And other people see that too. If I see, Wu-Tang asked me next season, say if I have a squad, I see what happened with him and your guys' squad. I'm not going to really want to recruit him. So
yeah, especially everybody kind of talks to everybody,
right.
and that's just one of those things that kind of sucks. I do know it does suck being on a lower tier squad, but you got to kind of pay your dues. We've all done it, So just keep doing what you're doing. Message some people. Maybe you'll get looked at, and then at that point, just do your best. Try and play well, and don't do anything dumb, and listen to the calls, and just try and be helpful.
That's the main thing too, right? Is if I know for a fact that like when I first started squatting with Sov, like I wasn't that great. I still don't think I'm that great, but I listened. And then as we continued to play together, like I felt more comfortable to help like just call focus fires and shit like that. But as you progress with these guys, you'll get more comfortable and you'll get more playtime because you will continue to listen. And as you listen, you'll kind of learn what we're all thinking on these higher end squads, right?
Yep. So those are all the questions that I got.
All right, cool. I didn't have any that were important. I got a couple troll questions I don't really feel like covering right now. Maybe at the end.
All right.
Yeah, I got nothing.
All right, then.
All right, let's hop right into it then. Let me pull this up here. So we have FUP at Thugs first, and the semis are all on KS10. So FUP at Thugs. I'll start, I guess. Especially on KS10, I think you guys, I think everybody expects you to win anyways. But on KS10, FUP played really poorly versus us last week. So I think you guys kind of run away with it. I don't think it's that close. The only thing I would say, though, is FUP does have a few decent camp plays on this map. There's caves, there's bottom right. The vision's already shit, so you can camp kind of by running around on this map as long as you're far enough away. So I do think that there's a possibility that this game is pretty low scoring, a la what they played you on Apollo's map. I don't think it'll be that low. I think you guys take the win, but I would be wary that Kevin has been saving some camp plays for the semifinals here.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do know they like that caves and those northeast buildings just right of caves, kind of camping along there. So I expect the camp timer to be called several times throughout the match. And like you said, the vision is kind of garbage. So even just running around and no camp timer, it's kind of difficult to actually find them until they're already on your screen or like half a screen away type thing. But I also agree. Of course, it's my squad. I'm going to say we're going to win. We won the 2 regular season games. I don't see this being any different. I see it being kind of closer to like 40s to 10, 15. That's as low scoring as I think we're going to get.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing. It doesn't really matter, especially my map pick or side pick, because we placed higher in the regular season, which I think is huge on this map.
Mm-hmm. You guys want to leak which side you're going to take?
It's obvious what side we're taking. So
yeah, pretty obvious.
So, I think for this game, though, everybody shows up. We should have Chris, we should have Nos, and we're gonna probably put the best lineup that we've can put in. So as far as that goes, yeah, I expect them to camp. We saw them try and pull the Nader Ripper thing on KR or whatever, and we saw how successful that was. So
I do think you could maybe run a Nader first couple battles on KS10. But
yeah, but are they gonna do it? Is the big thing, or are they gonna let backs continue to play Ripper?
And if they do it, does Octavian switch once they go down? Is I think the big question.
Octavian's shown that he has no problem switching to different classes. It's more so backs that kind of trolls when he's forced to play Marine and runs it down. But I wouldn't even be worried about Oct as a nader. He's shown several times through the SBs that he does not know how to aim mortar properly.
Yep.
So it's not really that big of an issue.
I mean, everyone can get lucky every once in a while, but like to
I
be
think he did
really,
hit backs once, but
yeah, I mean, it's not enough to win him the game,
right.
right? And that's all we care about. Is it good enough to win the game? I want to see
Mhm.
backs play LMG. I think it's a class that'd suit him pretty well.
Yeah.
But
Splitta's been loving LMG too, so it's kind of hard to. I think Split is a pretty decent LMG, so.
However, if it
Interesting
stops
decision.
backs from running it down, I kind of just give it to him, right?
Just bench him. I mean,
That too. I mean,
nothing will
Raver's got a
happen,
show
but-
though.
I mean,
Yeah.
is Raver going to show? We haven't seen him.
No.
Supposedly, quote unquote, he was getting married,
Yeah.
but for 3 weeks.
No, I just don't. I think he's just done with that squad. I think he's done with the inner squad drama, and he'll show up, day after champ game.
I guess this is my own question. How long before SV tilts in this match?
Oh, first battle.
I was gonna say second battle, but yeah, maybe first.
As soon as it's left out to dry, it's over.
Does SV play is the question too.
I mean, I know him and Judy have been kind of going at it in pub.
Him and Ock too. Like the other night, we were SBing them, and he PM'd me. He said, "Hey, can you use me? I'm not gonna play with Oct." So like, all right, yeah. If FUP can use Oct, I'll use SV. We won by a lot, but so I don't know. Maybe Oct doesn't play. That's probably the answer, right? Just bench Oct.
Yeah.
But I mean, if all these other people aren't going to show up, then you kind of got to play who shows.
Right. Might come down to just a numbers thing.
Yeah. Score wise, I think this ends up being 40-20. Maybe even more than that if they get down and decide they want to push on us, but realistically, I don't think that's gonna happen. It could be a close match if they decide they can't, but if the referees are on their job, then really shouldn't matter.
Well, Foster will be in spec, so he's a deputy. Or is he wait, is he deputy admin or was he right now? Coordinator?
He's coordinator right now, but
well, he'll be an independent party who can weigh in too, so that'll be good.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess 38-11. I think we've covered that match pretty well. Let's go on to Deadweight versus One Love. I'll let one of you guys start first.
So I'll go ahead and take this one. Deadweight versus One Love. This is a pretty interesting match. One Love does get the side pick, which is pretty big on KS10. So, the big question I have for One Love is who's going to lead it? Are they going to let Bird try and lead it again? Or is Dave going to take over leadership? Is Soul going to show? Is Pandy going to show? Is Kaga going to be there? All these questions still remain, they're just that. It's a question. If One Love shows their best lineup, the most competitive one, this could be a really, really interesting and fun match. Deadweight is, they're on the come up. They've been like the Kool-Aid man, busting through the door, right? Playing well. You have a couple potential award winners over there in Gift and Ernie, of course, and Fausto's doing a pretty good job leading from what I've seen. The med department does look a little shaky. CC has been caught out several times. And I think that Mecca, you're still having a problem who you want to actually use as that last player. Is it going to be Tyrael? Is it going to be, Brillheart? Is it going to be, somebody else? Right? I think you still haven't figured that out yet. And, that's obviously something that you got to kind of, figure it out. Activity-wise, kind of both squads are kind of on the same level of activity, with One Love obviously not being around very often. They might be a little rusty coming into this game. I thought they would SB a little bit more this week, but we really haven't seen them a whole lot. Seen Dave, of course, but for the most part, at least I haven't seen very many SBs from them, so they could be coming in pretty cold for this match. So for this one, I'm going to go ahead and say, Deadweight takes it, and a little bit of an upset here. I think they take it I'm gonna say 55-35.
All right. So I'll answer the one question. I think Mecca has found his eighth. I think it is Brilhart. Based off of how he's shown the last few weeks and how he's played, I think he's easily slotted into that eighth roster spot. It is unfortunate for Deadweight that One Love does have side selection because it is huge on this map. I know it's kind of more of one of our even maps, but still it's going to be a little bit rough. And I don't think Bird leads again. I think Bird's actually going to be in spec if all of those players show. If Kaga shows, if Soul shows, Bird does not play because Kaga should take LMG. And again, I love Bird, but he is not a good Marine. He should not be in at that point. Because if Manu shows as well, right? You already have Dave, Manu, and Kaga and Jeff all being vocal. You don't need Bird's input. I know this is his map, but based off of how he led versus us and being stubborn, saying we're going to keep doing the same play over and over until we get it right, he never got it right. And I don't think any of them wanted to follow that type of leadership. I think, and because Iso and I have a bet on this, I'm going to stick to my gut and say that and say that Deadweight wins this game. I think Ernie pops off. I don't think, other than, again, and this is dependent on if Kaga shows, I don't think a inactive Jeff can contain Ernie. I think he pops off, whether it's as AT solo or even Marine solo. I think he's just going to be a little bit too much for them. There's a reason why he's in contention for MVP and Deadliest Marine, or Deadliest Player, rather. So I look for him to have a big game supported by the gift. I do need, like you said, Deadweight's medics to step up. Again, as you already mentioned, CC's been caught off in some bad positioning. I've called it off in past casts. Staley's taken some bad deaths as well. So if they can clean that up, then they could even potentially run away with this if One Love, again, doesn't have those people as question marks that don't show. So I'm going to say it's going to be about pretty similar score, actually, Josh, like 55-30. With Deadweight getting like those last two battles of kind of like not free kills, but garbage time kills as One Love tries to push.
Yeah, I'll weigh in now. I will say we did beat One Love in our most recent encounter. And Soul was there. Kaga was not, but Soul was there. And Pandy was there as well. I think Pandy got subbed out. But that's besides the point for right now. For BB, I believe. But yeah, I think if they all show, I don't think BB plays. I think it'd be a little silly to play him if Soul and Kaga and Pandy are all there. As far as you're right about Brill. I think Brill has solidified his spot. One, in the last 3 games he's started, he's been very good. And 2, we've actually been a little bit active this week. We've SP'd Tuesday and Wednesday, which is huge for us. Versus FUP, I think both times, but Brill was playing very well in those too. He's hitting some really nice law snipes. He's very dependable. He doesn't have a mic, which is kind of like the one negative about him, but everything else is very dependable about Brill. You know he's going to be in the right spot. He's going to listen. He's going to do the smart play, 9 times out of 10. As far as meds go, I agree. We've had some bad We've had some bad med deaths this season. CC's got caught out a few times. Staley's got caught out a few times. I think Staley has improved quite a bit over the season. From our first match against FUP on EC to now, I think he's a completely different player. I think he's more reminiscent of the old Staley. I would say that I'm a little bit worried about One Love's meds as well. If it's Manu, he's hard to kill sometimes, but he also has a lot of really dumb deaths sometimes because he's out in front if he's being vocal. So sometimes it's pretty easy to drop him. And then Stavudan is just, I think, too inactive, and you can't just camp him on Bird all game. So I think the med department's kind of a wash. We might even have an upper hand just for activity. I do think we take this one, and I do think Ernie's going to be solo and get all those last 3 bullet kills and force TG to get all the assist points. I think it's going to be pretty close. I think on Bomb's map, we should have beat them by about 30, 35 until, communication broke down. On this map, I think we beat them by 2 battles. I think we'll be up a battle and they'll have to push us the last battle and we'll kill most of them off. So I'm thinking 48, 35 or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Pretty even all around.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get the finals.
Yeah, so I think we're all in agreement who the finals might be. I mean, again, I'm not going to be shocked if One Love beats us. I know they're inactive, but they still have a lot of really good players.
Yeah.
So I want to preface it with that. Like, if One Love ends up against you guys in the finals, I wouldn't be completely shocked. And, I think it technically is an upset if we beat them. But, so then the finals would be Deadweight versus Thugs.
Yeah, Thugs cry too, dude.
True.
I want to preface all this real quick with, I know that the times are like 10, 10:30, 11:05 type thing. Obviously, the dead weight One Love might be 10:35 because of just availability for refs. So those were just kind of standardized times that I just put down, and we'll probably see champ game closer to like 11:25, 11:30 Eastern. That is. But moving on to this, I mean, it'll be a rematch again on Bomb's map for the finals, and I mean, Duels. I
have no clue.
Yeah, I don't know either. It could go either way, honestly. So let's just, I'll say you guys win Duels, you guys get the better side, whatever. But Chris showing, Nas showing. I mean, we saw the impact in the last game of Chris subbing in for revenge. And it really made a huge difference. Obviously, I've kind of hung up my AT cleats, if you will. No more Nikes for me sprinting around getting vision. I think Sov 1 AT is just such a better class for a mouser because you have to be close range anyways, and as a keyboarder it feels kind of bad. So him taking over AT and him being more aggressive on it, and just communicating and us being ready to make that push when he's ready is huge. And I don't know if Ernie will play AT against us to match it, or if he sticks to Marine. I know he's still kind of up in the air on whether or not on Bomb's map it works or not. But I think that's a key matchup to watch, is if Ernie goes AT and tries to match Sov, that'll be huge. And then how the rest of the teams play out. But I don't see either of us really camping. I mean, the last game we had, it was nothing but fighting. I see that happening here as well. I think both of us as a collective are very confident in our players, the plays we set up. We're ready to fight, and it's gonna be kind of like last season's champ match where it was constant fighting. I do, obviously, because it's my squad, think we're going to take it. Just because I do think Iron's the best medic in the game, so we have better meds. And I think they're more consistent, and I think we catch CC and Staley lacking a little bit. So I look at this and see the championship game score being probably about 60-45. That last battle again, we kind of clean up with you guys pushing us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm kind of going to mirror Eric on this. I actually think they do win the duels, especially if we're doing 1v1 duels. Next season, I would like to see 3v3s. I think that just would be a lot more fun. Plus, you get to see, everybody get in. And, I think it'd be just better watching. And less work on the refs, too. So, as far as that goes, I mean, I think it'll be a fun match. I don't think Ernie plays AT. I know that Fausto has mentioned that this is a very proactive game, so I don't expect Deadweight to really sit around. And I think there'll just be a lot of movement around the map. And I think that it'll be very fun. And if, there's a number of different strategies that, both squads could really throw out. Is Sav going to play AT? What class am I going to play? I could go back to AT. I could play Nader. I could do all these other things, right? To kind of just throw you guys off. Or we could just, run 6 Marines, 2 medics, right? Like
OP class.
Yeah, the most broken class in the game, Marines. We just got to have them. So as far as that goes, it should be just fighting for the entire 30 minutes. It should be a good time, good match. And with that, I'm going to say that, we just overpower you guys with, Marines and meds. So with that, I'd say it's going to end up being like, I'm going to say 55-30. And I think it's going to be a close match all the way up until the last 22 minutes. And then you guys really have to force the gas, step on the pedal, and try and push us. And once you try to push us, then I think it gets really bad for y'all.
Mm-hmm. I agree with most of that. I think if we do win duels, I think side does matter. I think we have a lot better chance to beat you guys from the good side. Just because you get priority on a lot of good spots from that side. I think you guys are probably right on. I think you guys probably do win. I think we have a better chance to win than most people give us. I'll say that at least. Because I don't think people really would give us a chance at all. But I think you're probably right. I think Ernie probably plays Marine. He played Marine versus you guys the first time, and we had a lead. So that might work into it. But he also played really well as AT against One Love on Bombs map. So there's kind of pros and cons for both. So we'll see kind of how he feels before the game. But yeah, I think the lineup that we had versus you guys the first game is going to be probably exactly what we use. Tyrael has played well, but he always wants to play Ripper and Nader. He did play Marine versus One Love on Bombs map, so we'll see. Sabo's MIA right now. Well, we know where he is, but he's just not on active right now, so we'll see. But yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of fights. I think both of our strengths as squads are moving a lot. Whereas, FUP and One Love like to play really slow. I think Deadweight and Thugs move around a ton. You hardly see either squad wait more than 30 seconds a spot. And I think that's mostly because of the players, not even the leaders, because none of us want to sit around and just sit there. We all find it extremely boring. So I do think that Thugs ends up winning this. I think it's probably pretty close, but I think you guys are right, around 15, 16. Probably a close game, then we have to push, and you guys will probably overpower us. If we end up winning, I think it'll be really close. I think it'll be similar to last season with, I already forgot what squad we were last season versus K's crew. Except if we win, it'll be like, the vice versa. So we would win by, 1 or 2 points with you guys pushing at the end. So yeah, I'm going to guess 40, 46, 32 Thugs. I do want to bring up though, because I don't think FUP beats you guys. I'm not really going to entertain that possibility. But One Love, if they beat us, I want to go through those predictions as well, because I think that's, it's possible. It could even be probable. I think if you guys play One Love, I think it's very similar. I think you guys have a lot better chance to beat One Love. Not that we're much better squad than One Love. I just think we match up better because of playstyles. Dave's going to say AT on main the whole time, and Sav's just going to expose that, much like, when was it, 2 weeks ago or whenever you guys played. So I think that's, if Dave says AT, he's going to get exposed. Even if Kaga, Soul, and Pandy show up, I just think you guys move around too much for Dave's playstyle, and I think that's why historically Sav has beat Dave, and most times they've encountered in the playoffs. So I would give it a little bit wider margin. I would say probably like 60 to 31 or something like that if it ends up being One Love.
Okay. If it does end up being One Love, I actually see us winning duels and getting side selection. Because like you said, in terms of Marines, I think you and us are pretty even. It's really just the medics that separate us. Versus One Love, for most of it, I think we have better Marines and medics, and I think we win the duels. So with that being said, I agree. I do think Dave is more stagnant in his leadership style. He definitely doesn't rotate as much as we do or you guys do, and that is pretty much their biggest weakness. I do think Stavadine's still a solid medic, even if he's inactive. And obviously, I agree with your assessment of Manu from earlier, saying that if he is vocal, he's out in front. So we could probably catch him. I do see this being definitely a larger margin than if we were to play you guys. So I would probably say somewhere around 60s to 30s, somewhere in that range with us taking it.
Yeah, I think this. If we play Dave and them, what was the last score that we had actually with them? I know it got pretty bad pretty quick for those guys. I think it was like 80-30 or something like that.
84-27.
Yeah. So I think that if we end up playing One Love, that's a different type of challenge for us because they're gonna more set up plays and they're gonna try to ambush us a lot more than I think you guys would. So that would, they could potentially sneak out a couple battles earlier on and really try to, force us into some bad spots. As far as the duels and stuff goes, I have no clue on that. It all depends who wants to duel from our squad. A lot of times everyone's just kind of like, whatever, it doesn't matter. Give us whatever side we want. So we just kind of pick whoever and, whatever. I think if we go versus One Love, score ends up being, I'm going to say 40-25. But that's winning, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I want to reiterate this too. I don't think that Fossil is necessarily a better leader than Dave. I think he is, but like not by that much for the score difference. I just think playstyle wise, I think people sitting in a space is playing right into the way Sov leads and actually the way Fossil leads as well. Like you saw it with FUP on KS10, right? They sat in a space and we were able to surround them and kill them pretty easily. If One Love sits in a space against you guys, you're going to be able to surround them pretty easily and kill them. And I think that's the difference. I don't think it's necessarily, squad talent or leader talent. I think it's just play style wise. It just you guys play better against that kind of squad than you would us.
I think it's both.
Also could be.
Wow. Humbleness.
Toxic. Kipple wanted the toxicity, man. There it is.
It's true. Coming out of the woodwork.
I mean, Kip is nothing but an investment from the past.
And then that kind of wraps that up, I think. And as far as awards go, I don't think we should maybe cover them because I think it'd be better as a surprise, especially because the three of us kind of know the way a lot of them are heading, and I'd rather see it as a surprise. Unless you guys absolutely want to cover them.
No, I think one thing that we could cover though would be one thing that you see happening during the off season, whether it be a squad forming or maybe a rule change or something like that. What's one thing that you want to see?
That's actually a good segue into kind of what's going to happen this off season. So I'll start because this has been going through my mind since probably mid-season as to what we should focus on staff wise and settings and everything like that. I feel like for starters, the classes right now are pretty set in stone. I don't see any major tweaks happening to class settings. Sorry, back sniper is gonna stay the way it is. And I mean, same with Ripper and maybe Nader and Demo get tweaked by a insignificant margin. But the main focus is going to be simplifying the rules so we can try and get more refs and make things a little bit more see-through and easier to follow. That aside, also some maps. I know MP's been working on some maps and he's been taking criticism. So during the off season, we're going to try and force. I know people don't like it, but we're going to have the newer maps up for people to scrim on so that we can get a feel for how they play out and what changes may or may not need to occur, because just playing on pub doesn't really give these maps a justification for is it bad, is it good. leading back into your main question, I see Septicemia separating from Hellcats. I said this, I think, a few weeks back, or maybe even last week, that he forms his own squad, kind of with Baza and that Aussie crew, and takes the people that are actually listening to him, aren't always drunk on the comms, and isn't a puppet for backs. And he gets control, he gets ownership, and is able to set the lineups he wants.
Okay. I think this season that we're going to see a new squad come about. Whether it be, a returning squad or, something like that. But I think a new squad gets formed out of some of the existing ones.
You think like completely new, or you just think that
I think a returning squad comes back.
oh shit, is it Purple Cobras?
I mean,
no.
Eric would be the one to talk to about that.
No. I'll say it. I think APOC comes back.
Yeah, that's the one I was alluding to.
I figured. I know you were hinting at it
about that, but I don't know.
I mean, I know Mark hasn't really been vocal, but that's again because he's not a co-captain or not a captain. I think he's just focused on playing. But I think, with all the drama between, I know he gambles with Bax and Kevin all the time, and maybe he just feels that he can kind of control it better and drop some of the people that cause that drama. I think if SV plays, he would go with Apollo over Kevin, or Kevin joins him and Bax goes back to Hellcats. That I can see that being a possibility.
Back to the gutter.
Yeah, back to the gutter.
Back to the gutter.
I've heard these rumors about APOC. I'm not sure if I started them or not as a joke, because I did say it before anybody else was saying, but there might have been rumors in the background before that. So if it was me that started it, it was on accident. There was no actual knowledge. If not, maybe it is happening. I think if APOC comes back, it's not going to look anything like it did in the I know, like, I won't be joining. TG or Ernie won't be joining. So I think if it is APOC, you would see something like Apollo, Shasta, Splitta, Kevin, Flash. Well, probably not Splitta, right? Because Mark wants Iceman. So I don't think it would look anything like it used to, except maybe like half the crew.
Yeah, I think you could see a potential merger of the active players from One Love and Apollo making APOC.
Yeah.
And then Dave and the WoW Boys kind of stay together, but fill out that roster.
Yeah, with a couple other people. Yeah, I think Dave's squad's a little bit more active next season. I mean, they got to be getting bored of WoW sometime, right? You can't just play it for. Maybe not. I don't know. I've never really played, but I do think they're. I do like the thinking that Septicemia might make a squad and take some of the players from Hellcats that actually listen, that have a little bit of talent, and then Bax goes back to that dude in Jaws, and they make, clowns or whatever iteration it is together of the lower squad with the rest of the people. As far as new squad goes, yeah, maybe there's a mix. I don't know. I don't think you're going to see anything brand new where you like see a bunch of people who haven't played with each other. One, because there's probably not enough people, and two, I think everybody has their cliques these days, and it's most people I think are going to stay together except the split of FUP.
Okay. Is there any rule change or any class that you want to see come back into the game?
Oh, here's one that I know Ernie talked about when we didn't allow NTs versus One Love the first game. I can say this I just got to get Chris to be able to program it on the site. NTs, I mean, the only way an NT is going to be needed is if they truly aren't on the squad. That ineligibility period is going to be once you leave a squad, not once you join a squad. Yes. I think that's kind of the best way to go about it, especially now with, as we've seen, more people kind of coming back and then kind of getting punished a little bit, right? So I still got to set that up with Chris, but that is that is going to obviously set a domino effect for the NT rules.
Yeah, I think that's a great change, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh, I did have a question actually. Unless Yosh, you wanted to expand upon that
Nah.
rule change. Okay.
I'm good.
Who's one player that did not play this season that you think could actually have an impact on a squad next season?
Well,
Trizens.
that's a good. Yep.
I think Trizens is the obvious one. I think, yeah. You saw him join free agents. I know I talked to him earlier in the season. He's like, I might probably play next season. So I think you definitely see him coming. Gary, I think, can be a legit sixth starter for you. You know, he could probably med a little bit too. I think even adding somebody who's at like that mid-tier level, I think can be big for you. Because like imagine if FUP had Gary, you play him over Octavian, you play him over 3K. You know, there's that kind of movement.
Yep.
I don't know if I have anybody else though.
I think Gary
MP
goes to Dave though.
I think MP leaves Dave and goes to play for an active squad.
Oh shit! I'll have to
That's
start recording myself.
that would be the right move for him. I mean, he's too active, and I think he could play on that team. You know, I love Bird, but should MP have played? You know, that's one person that I'd like to see leave their current squad. For us, is there anyone I'd like to see leave?
What about Kippa? You think he comes back?
Hell no.
Too early,
Kippa,
right? It's like 4 a.m.
Yeah. Ain't no way. Kippa's just here to talk shit.
Could see Miz come back. He's SP'd quite a bit.
Yeah, Miz would be a good one. I think where does the mountain go?
I think SV either joins APOC. He could even go to Mecca. That's if he wants to play.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always entertained the idea of him coming back to us. But we kind of have a set lineup when everybody shows. So there's that. So I mean he could literally pick and probably be accepted anywhere, honestly. But I don't know if he actually wants to play after experiencing what he's experienced this season.
Yeah,
you might be right. You got
not that I can blame him.
Too, by the way. Yeah, I can't blame him either.
You have who?
I've seen R in pub for the past couple weeks. He's actually been unspec'd in pub too. I don't know if he is totally interested, but usually what you see if somebody comes back, and it could be worms. If you see somebody come back and they start playing pub, it's usually a gateway drug to the league again.
I mean, you can only play pub for so long. I mean, The only way I play pub is I mark somebody, usually speedy grab ball. But if I see ISO on the other team, I mark his ass, and I'm
true. I would like to see. I think Tyrael leaves and goes and plays for somebody else.
Somewhere where he can nade or ripper full time, I think, yeah.
Yeah. And where he could actually, start every game. Because I think that's a big thing. Ooh, what are roster limits going to be?
Yeah.
Are we going to make them lower to maybe promote more squads?
Spread it out again.
I think
make the Goonies.
I think the initial will always be 12-man, and then from there we see what happens. I'm gonna continue because I kind of like how it's worked out in the past 2 seasons of starting with 12s, see how many people form, and then go from there and slowly increase it as squads are set, the season started, and then increase to allow people to recruit more.
All right, boys, I got a dip, but the one thing I would say as well, I do like 12s. Second thing, somebody get Hannibal Solid Snake back here. The guy deserves to be in this game.
True. All right. I think that about covers everything.
All right. Well,
all right.
that has, I'm Mecca. That has been the playoff rendition of our previews. Good luck, everybody.
See ya.